Wow, that is really nice. What you're about to see is not recommended by the manufacturer. All right, let's check. Let's take a pause and just see where we are at this point. We have the shaft turned and cleaned up. This looks pretty good. Got a little bit of pitting left over. That's something that we're going to find as we look at these parts and pieces. Some of the pitting was so deep that at some point I just had to stop. The main runners here on the base, they're nice and flat. I don't like that texture. I mean, the way that looks. It's as smooth as can be, but again, my wheel's probably out of balance. As I've ground more and more things, if I think I went too deep of a cut, or if I was going too fast with the left and right movement, it sort of burns the metal. And then I just didn't grind it out here on that side down deep enough to kind of get that out. Moving on to the fixed jaw. So we have the fixed jaw has been ground on 5 sides, and I did grind down these nubs here so that they fit nice and flush, because in total the base came down about 25 thousandths, which is quite a lot. Now the edges on these pieces are a little bit sharp, so we'll see about deburring these. Just to get that sharp edge off of there. Alright, so we'll do that on all the pieces. This guy will bolt in here. And let's see, what else? So we have the movable jaw. This guy is in, again, same kind of idea where, can you hear that wind? It is a windy day today. Where this, just kind of the underlying, look of that, it's not exactly what I was hoping for. And then we have the jaws themselves, which I think came out really, really great, all things considering how they looked. These edges too are very sharp. We'll cut those back, clean those up nicely. Still have that. Alright, and then this guy will go like this. Everything looks nice and square, fits nice and tightly. There was one piece on this jaw where the previous owner must have just ground it way down, because it's down like 1/8 of an inch, so I stopped. There's no way I was going to be taking that out. But what we're going to do right now is I want to test out one of these Scotch-Brite dressing wheels. So the idea behind this is that it doesn't take down any material, but yet it's not only made for deburring, but I'm wondering what it'll do to the surface finish here to see if we can make it look a little nicer. All right, so here's the wheel. It's a heavy, it's not actually not heavy very much at all, but the foam is pretty resilient. It's not squishy, you know, like a Scotch-Brite pad might be. And I have this pretty heavy-duty Black & Decker buffer that we'll use to kind of test out and see, you know, see what we can do with this. So my first reaction is that it hops a bit. It's hopping a bit on the metal. Hard to get a feel for it. We'll give it another try. I don't know if I need to put more pressure, which I'm not inclined to want to do right away, but let's see. So putting down a little bit more pressure definitely helped. Still not consistent. I do believe this is intended for a bench grinder, but given the weight of the base, I was hoping I could use this instead. If I do move this to a bench grinder, actually I will be moving this to a bench grinder for these other pieces. Let's try this other side here. That's the gear mechanism. I wonder if that's giving me some of that wheel hop. You know, the side-to-side bearing feels okay, but it's just that gear kind of jumping around in there. I can see where there'd be some, you know, you could see how this would really work out nicely for what I'm hoping to do with it. The challenge is just getting it to be consistent, so it lays down a nice consistent finish. So that might be a problem with this grinder. Yeah, I'm almost convinced that the grinder itself's not allowing me to get a nice steady surface there. So we're gonna test my strength, and we'll move this over to the bench grinder and see if we can do it by hand. Okay, let's test it first on one of the smaller, lighter pieces to get make sure I have the technique down. First off, let's take a look at it here before. Wow, that is really nice. It is like really polishing it up. But I can see that you need to be careful with the pattern in which you move it, because it'll kind of create those ripply lines. Yeah, it's going to take just a little bit of practice, but I do like that. Yep. Yeah, it looks really nice. And this is intended also for deburring. Knowing that that's probably going to do some, take the wheel down a little faster than just flat polishing, I'm going to save the deburring for last. Okay, let's see. Let's see how we can do on this guy. That is heavy. Well, I'm running out of room. To get the whole width. How about this? Yeah, so that is going to work. I need to figure out a good way to hold it and work it and see it all at the same time. And that's not so clear to me. Let's see if I have an idea. All right, let's see if we can get from underneath so we can see. And can I get to the, see, it's hard to get to that side. All right, got another idea. Okay, I slid the buffer more this way on the table. Hopefully give me enough room to fit this underneath. Oh, almost. It's not really working. All right, how about something totally crazy? Now that buffing wheel won't fit on the surface grinder, which would actually be pretty slick. The arbor is not big enough. But if I had to do this over again, I might buy a wheel with a larger arbor. Okay, well, what you're about to see is not recommended by the manufacturer. Other than having a spinning wheel in the back, this is not much different than the buffing wheel that I started with. It's pretty calm. That was largely uneventful. And looks pretty good. Got a couple of spots to check up on. It's so bright, it's hard to see. All right, let's give that a little bit more, see how it goes. All right. I think we're good. Great. Ooh, hot. That is hot. Nice. All right. Let's do the fixed jaw. Let's see, what grain direction do we want to go? We want to go with, left and right. Let's see. We're going to go with, I think. I think that would be less of a challenge. Although it'd be easier to go like this. Easier to go like this. Only on this piece though. The other piece. So yeah, so we'll do this. Get a little bit of waviness in there. See if we can get that out by kind of feathering the technique a little bit. Starting with a fair bit of pressure. starting with a fair bit of pressure and then dialing it back. Getting a fair bit of chatter. Yeah, it's okay, not great. Let's go the other direction and see if that helps. Getting a little bit of waviness, kind of those, you can see the grit lines, if you will. Let's try going across. You know, better, a little bit more consistent. You can still see it's not quite perfect. Okay, so that's probably the best yet, which is kind of a consistent push. It doesn't like to be feathered, it sort of likes to be on. It doesn't like that kind of half pressure. Where are you going? Come back here. All right, now let's try some side to side here. All right, so I've got some more practice to do. I'm going to come back to you after I have figured out exactly what to do. So I'm back at the grinding wheel, or at the bench grinder. The Scotch-Brite it's a pretty amazing tool. It does a great job deburring the sides of product. Does a nice quick deburr. The problem that I'm having with is getting a consistent finish on these on the flat surfaces. You know, I'd like to get a consistent brushed finish, and right now it's a bit wavy, depending on my ability to hold it straight, which is, you know, it's not that easy with don't have that muscle memory right now. The narrower pieces, that actually, this one I'm kind of happy with. And then it's just these big flats that you see that waviness. And if I try lighter or try harder presses, it doesn't really make a difference. But one thing I'll show you here is we'll take down this edge and give it a nice, it'll give it a nice deburred edge very quickly. And I don't know if you can see that, but that is it's a nice edge, not sharp, but just takes that rough spot right off. It's great. So with just one pass, I've got a deburred edge. It's not as sharp as the raw edge. Let me give it another couple passes. And that makes it a nice deburred edge. Give it just enough pressure so that it's not bouncing. And I think that'll do you just well. They just look great. I highly recommend this deburring wheel. Again, for taking off those rough edges of your pieces of metal like this. It's super fast and quick. You know, I tried using a tool like this and just didn't quite have the same finish to it as opposed to a couple hits with that. It's nice and smooth and very consistent.